Imagine opening your eyes at dawn, looking outside, and realizing that the entire city is surrounded. Soldiers on every side, horses, chariots, weapons, no way out. That is exactly what happened to the servant of the prophet Elisha. And in that moment, he thought everything was lost. But there was one detail he still did not know. The army surrounding Elisha was not the only army there, because hidden from human eyes, heaven was already in position. Horses, chariots of fire, a heavenly army surrounding a single man. In today's video, you will understand what the army of angels protecting Elisha was like, why this vision was so powerful, and what this story reveals about battles human eyes cannot see. And stay until the end, because the final lesson of this passage may change the way you see the struggles in your life. Before you understand the army of angels, you need to understand who Elisha was. Elisha was not just a prophet. He was a man raised up by God in a time of war, tension, and constant danger. Israel was living through difficult days. Political conflict, enemies all around, ambushes being prepared, attacks coming from every side. And among Israel's greatest enemies was the king of Syria. This king made military plans in secret, chose routes, set times, planned attacks, and prepared ambushes. But as incredible as it sounds, his plans always failed. Always. The king began to suspect betrayal. In his mind, someone inside the palace was leaking everything. Someone was giving away information. But the problem was not a spy. It was a prophet. God revealed to Elisha what the enemy was planning in secret. Before the attack happened, Israel already knew. Before the ambush began, the plan had already been exposed. That made the Syrian king furious, because now the war was not just against a nation. Now the war had a name, Elisha. So he makes a decision. He sends troops to capture the prophet, not to watch him, not to threaten him, but to surround him and put an end to it once and for all. During the night, while the city slept, the Syrian army moved without noise, without warning, without mercy. When the sun began to rise, Elisha's servant went out and saw the scene. The city was surrounded, completely surrounded. Soldiers on every side, horses, chariots, weapons in position. There was no escape route. Imagine that man's heart. Imagine his breathing getting shorter. Imagine the immediate thought hitting him with force. It is over. Then he runs to Elisha and asks the question anyone would ask when facing the impossible. "Oh, my master, what shall we do?" That question is deeper than it seems, because it is not just a servant's question. It is the question of anyone who has ever felt surrounded, trapped, helpless, and unsure what to do. But while the servant was panicking, Elisha was at peace. That is remarkable. The scene was the same, the problem was the same, the siege was the same. But the way they saw it was completely different. And then Elisha answers with one of the most powerful lines in the entire Bible. "Do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." Think about that. The servant was seeing the enemy, he was seeing the numbers, he was seeing the military power, he was seeing the real threat. But Elisha was seeing something he still could not see. This is where the story enters a supernatural level. Elisha does not ask for swords, he does not ask for reinforcements, he does not ask for escape, he does not ask for strategy. He offers a prayer, simple, short, but deeply powerful. "Lord, open his eyes so that he may see." That prayer changed everything, because the servant's greatest problem was not only the siege, his greatest problem was the limitation of his vision. He saw the threat, but he did not see the protection. He saw the danger, but he did not see the presence of God. He saw what was against him, but he did not see what was for him. Then God opens the servant's eyes, and in that instant, invisible reality becomes visible. The mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. It was not a single angel. It was not a small sign. It was not a vague impression. It was an army, heavenly, vast, positioned, ready. While the enemy surrounded the city from the outside, God had already surrounded Elisha on every side. What looked like a siege was actually protection. But after all, what was this army of angels like? The Bible describes horses and chariots of fire, and that image was not chosen by accident. In the ancient world, horses and chariots represented military strength, speed, war power, and dominance in battle. So when the servant sees chariots of fire, he is not just seeing supernatural beauty, he is seeing the power of God in battle formation. In Scripture, fire points to glory, holiness, judgment, and the presence of God. In other words, that vision was more than grand. It was a declaration. Heaven was showing that Elisha had never been defenseless. And here is one of the strongest details in this story. The heavenly army was already there before the servant saw it. Hold on to that. The protection did not begin when he saw it. The protection was already there. God did not arrive late. God was already present. And that detail changes everything. Because in many moments of life, we also act like the servant. We look around and think we are alone. That the problem got there first. That the enemy is greater. That God has not done anything yet. But this passage reveals the opposite. Before the panic, God was already in position. The story of the army of angels protecting Elisha was not recorded just to impress us. It was recorded to teach us. Not every battle is only what your eyes can see. Not every silence means absence. Not every siege means abandonment. The servant saw numbers. Elisha saw presence. The servant saw threat. Elisha saw protection. The servant saw the visible. Elisha trusted the invisible. And maybe that is the word many people need today. You look at your life and see pressure, fear, uncertainty, closed doors, problems piling up, a constant feeling of being surrounded. But this passage reminds us of something powerful. The fact that you do not see God working does not mean He is not working. It may be that heaven is already moving, even if your eyes still cannot perceive it. Maybe the prayer you need most today is not, Lord, take away the problem. Maybe it is, Lord, open my eyes so that I may see. Elisha was surrounded, yes, but he was never alone. The enemy was present. But God was already there first. And that is the power of this story. What was visible shouted fear, but the invisible had already declared protection. If this video spoke to you, subscribe to the channel now, because here you do not just hear Bible stories. Here you step inside them. And comment below with this phrase, "Those who are with us are more." And in the next video, I can bring you the full continuation of this story. The moment Elisha prays again, the enemy army is thrown into confusion, and what looked like the end becomes supernatural deliverance. Because when God opens the right eyes, the battle never looks the same again.